Okay, good evening. Welcome to our third Board of Education meeting of the year. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Anna Brown.
Here.
Timothy Cummings.
Here.
Antoinette Evola.
Here.
Jamie Falco.
Here.
Louis Figueroa.
Here.
Lori Herrick.
Here.
Lee Woo Hung. Wilbur Pan.
Here.
Mary Ann Tanios.
Here, seeing we have a quorum, please rise to salute the flag. Okay. So we have a need for a closed session. Whereas the Board of Education must discuss matters which are not appropriate for discussion at public meeting, and whereas these subjects are within the exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act and are permitted to be discussed in closed session pursuant to NJSA 10-4-12B, and whereas the Board of Ed intends to discuss matters listed in the agenda, whereas the length of the closed session is estimated to be 1 hour, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and action will be taken. Now therefore be it resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Ed will recess into closed session for only the aforesaid subjects, and be it further resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Ed hereby declares that its discussion of the aforesaid subjects will be made public at a time when the public's interest in disclosure is greater than any privacy or governmental interest being protected from disclosure in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Do we have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Second. It's a voice vote?
No, yes, it's a voice vote. Any
Voice vote,
discussion?
okay. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, we will see everyone in 1 hour. Thank you. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back us. We are just coming back from closed session. We've already begun. Before we begin, Mr. Hong wanted to extend his apologies for not being able to be here tonight, and the board offers him our sincerest condolences for the passing of his mom, and he did apologize for not being able to be with us tonight. Okay, so I think we are rolling right along into our superintendent's report.
Yay. Good evening. Tonight's boardroom features artwork created by our talented students from Memorial and Wansdorfer Elementary Schools. The art teachers of these talented students are Brooke Saborn and Margaret Sasso. Cheryl Jones is the principal of Memorial Elementary School, and Mr. Joseph Satari is the principal of Wansdorfer Elementary School. The artwork will be available for viewing through February 27th. So joined by our board members, I have spent the last 2 weeks continuing my meet and greet tour. With only a few schools left on the schedule, I encourage any parents who have not yet attended to join us for one of these final sessions. We would love to see you there. It's been a lot of fun. After my Churchill meet and greet on Tuesday, January 27th, I headed to Hammersholt for the German Snowball Festival. Students in grades 4th through 9th were invited to attend this fun and immersive celebration of German culture. Students and their parents explored traditions, language, and customs while working alongside German teachers and students from German classes. The festival featured hands-on activities that encouraged cultural connections and curiosity. Guests also enjoyed a variety of delicious German pastries, adding an authentic taste of Germany to the experience. I know I thoroughly enjoyed what was it? The donut. Yeah, it was the apricot donut. It was yummy. It was yummy.
It was great.
On Friday, January 30th, I enjoyed attending an assembly at Hammersholt for the Butterfly Effect project. Students in both grades 5 and 6 were joined by Eileen Mager, the creator of #ChooseKind, a movement focused on building confidence, self-acceptance, and spreading kindness in ways that truly make a difference. Her message connected perfectly with Hugh's values of being honest, united, empathetic, and safe. Students were simply reminded that kindness starts from within, and even small choices can create big ripples. This assembly was made possible by a grant from the East Brunswick Education Foundation. Beyond my scheduled meet and greet, I'm spending the next few months joining staff in each building for lunch. During this week's visit with the Memorial Elementary team, I was thrilled to learn more about their peer leader program. Those are my friends. This year, Memorial Elementary School has 10 students who are part of the peer leader program. They are leaders in the building by assisting kindergarten students during recess, creating school-wide activities to promote kindness, and have done community projects as well as making donations to Live Like a Unicorn, and are in the process of creating hygiene kits for families and that are displaced in our community. They have learned so much this year about responsibility and leadership, and I was really, truly impressed by my new friends. They're in 4th grade. It's amazing. On Tuesday, February 2nd, I've been busy. I attended Irwin's annual Expert Expo. As part of the Writers Workshop unit Becoming Experts, 2nd grade students hosted an Expert Expo. As part of this unit, students write an informational book on their topic, prepare a presentation board, and prepare a presentation that they give to their families, teachers, and fellow students. Students speak on a wide variety of topics, and it is always interesting to see how knowledgeable our students are. I learned about dinosaurs, I learned about baseball. There was just a lot, but it was really, really cool. On Tuesday evening, February 3rd, after the Frost meet and greet, I hopped over to Hammersholt to learn how to make dumplings. The Mandarin program students and their families joined Zemin Zhang for a hands-on dumpling wrapping experience, learning about the cultural significance and symbolism of dumplings as we welcomed the Year of the Horse. In the arts, on Sunday, February 1st, the Churchill Advanced Orchestra performed during the first half of the East Brunswick Symphony Orchestra and East Brunswick Education Foundation Winter Serenade Concert under the direction of orchestra teachers Susan Muse and Mary O'Mara. The East Brunswick Schools Music Department is honored to continue its strong partnership with EBSO as it enters its 2nd year, along with the continued support of the EBEF, which has been consistently generous to the arts department. Looking ahead to March 8, the EBSO, EBEA, and East Brunswick Public Schools will collaborate again for an Afternoon of Strings, a chamber music concert featuring East Brunswick Public Schools music teachers. The Art Administrators of New Jersey AANJ Emerging Artists Exhibit and Awards Ceremony took place at Kane University on Sunday, February 1st. High school senior Grace Young and junior Eba Vachon had their artwork hand selected to be exhibited by their studio art teacher, Lisa Gumbas, for their unique approach to the subject matter and unique personal expression. This annual high school art exhibition gives students the opportunity to have their work displayed in the University Gallery among some of New Jersey's most creative, innovative art students. The East Brunswick High School Orchestra will be presenting the music of film on Wednesday, February 11th at the Joanne Magistro Performing Arts Center. The program will feature music from iconic films such as The Da Vinci Code, Star Wars, and Howl's Moving Castle. The concert begins at 7 p.m. and admission is free. In sports, last night was a historic one for East Brunswick. Our hockey team officially opened the stunning new East Brunswick ice rink with a thrilling 5-4 victory over West Windsor Plainsboro. Huge shout out to Colin Knapp, who etched his name into the history books by scoring the first ever EB goal in the new arena. Congratulations to our January High School Athletes of the Month. Students were selected for this honor by the coaching staff based on performance, demonstration of leadership, effort in practice, and for modeling exceptional character. Report cards will be available through parent access on Thursday, February 12th. Anyone with internet access can contact, anyone without internet access can contact their school for a copy. So just a few reminders. Schools and administrative offices will be closed Monday, February 16th. There is no school on Tuesday, February 17th for students and 10-month staff, but administrative offices will be open. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mammon. Okay. So now we have a presentation on the 2026-2027 school calendar.
Well.
Dum, dum, dum.
We have the soundtrack now.
Yeah. Hi, Buzz. How are you? It's good to see you. So the school calendar is just riveting. I thought it was important to just share as the board discusses our school calendar for 26-27 this evening. I thought it was important to just share some basic things that maybe our community might not necessarily be aware of, or what we have to consider when we put a calendar together. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. So our calendar needs to include the following. These are non-negotiables, right? 180 instructional days for students, 184 days for 10-month staff, 4 days for staff only, hence the difference 180, 184. The 180 and 184 days does not include emergency closing days. And we call them emergency closing days rather than snow days because we could close for any emergency. As you know, sometimes it could be, a facility thing, a bursted pipe, whatever it is. So we build in some emergency days. So we have 4 single sessions with lunch for grades K through 6. This is per contract. The day before Thanksgiving, the day before winter break, day before Memorial Day weekend, and last day for teachers. So when you take the calendar, right, and you get rid of July, right, and you start to count, it's so easy how quickly the days get used up once you start to consider all these things that we have to put in there. So on half days or single session days, we do not serve lunch at Churchill and the high school. Some of our crossing guards, by the way, are also some of our lunch aides, and they are lunch aides and then they serve lunch and then they come back. So when we have single session days, we have to kind of manage that. Our additional single session days are for the parent-teacher conferences, 8 single session days, 4 days in the fall, 4 days in the spring, midterms and finals. This is for high school and Churchill only. There are 4 days for midterms, end of January, beginning of February, as you know. We just had one or having one in the middle of one. I can't remember. 4 days for finals. There were additional single session days. Primary election day in June, last 2 days of school for all students. And then for EBHS only, we look at PSAT in October, prom in June, and then also as needed for state testing, because recently we've had some state testing. And some people say, well, I have kids in other schools that are testing as well. Why don't they get the single session days, right? And you know that the high school, we are at mixed grade levels in classes. So you could be in a class with 10th graders, 11th graders, 12th graders, depending on what level they are. So, but when they're testing, not all of them have to test, so it becomes really kind of problematic, as opposed to the other grade levels where as a whole grade, they test. Okay. And then, other important dates and information to keep in mind. November Election Day is non-school day for students. Teachers Convention in November. Schools are closed for students and EBEA staff. This is the law. It's not what we decide. And then some of the federal days, these are the federal days we recognize, definitely not exhaustive of all the federal holidays, but these are the ones that are recognized in East Brunswick: 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, and so on and so forth. Juneteenth in New Jersey is the third Friday. It doesn't matter what the date is. It's usually the third Friday. The federal Juneteenth is the 19th. And I believe that's what we go by here, right? So this year you see that, for 26, 27, June 27th, in the calendar, you see that the 18th is a single session day for all students. And on the federal holidays that we are open, if there are other federal holidays that our staff want to observe, they can ask to do so, and they make up that day on a predetermined day by us, the district. So you want to be off on a federal holiday that we're open, you reach out to HR, they decide what day, we decide what day, you can make that up. The religious holidays are as follows. These are the religious holidays and that we observe here as of now, I think. So, and I've been talking to parents and students alike, and they said, and we're like, oh, we have this religious holidays, and we see, even when we say that students can be excused and school is open, they come anyway. And that's been one of the things I've heard from the students, because I've heard from high school students, like, any kind of holiday, April, May, and I'm taking an AP course, yeah, you're not getting me out of school. It doesn't matter what the holiday is, I'll be here because there's AP prep and exams and all of that stuff. So there is that. And then currently, it's my understanding that we hold the Cure Arena a year ahead for graduation, and the date that's currently on hold at the Cure Arena is June 21st, 2027 at 11 o'clock in the morning. And for my own edification, I thought I'd add the history of emergency closing days in East Brunswick, because I don't want to hear about it. No, but we went back, for me trying to understand all the way from 2015 to 2016, and you can see how many days were used. 2017, 2018 was one of those days, one of the year that you had 6 days that were used, a lot of snow days. And then it kind of, I think we still had a calendar committee then as a result of that, and how many days were used and how much they had to rely on open school even after that language was put in place. But then you see the 2018, 2019 was 2 days. 2019, 2020, we had to all use all the days we had before we started because of the pandemic. So 2020, 21, no days used because we were remote. And then you see that 21, 22, 22, 23, no days were used at all. 23, 24, 2 days. Last year, no days were used, and we are in 2025 and we've already used 1 day. And I hear that it's going to be a cold winter, and apparently the groundhog did not see or saw his or her shadow. I do not know, but that's where you are. So before you today is a draft of a 26-27 proposed calendar for open conversation. I'll take questions,
Yeah.
I think, just in case.
Oh, no, I was going to say before we begin, because we received some questions beforehand.
Okay.
If this was a discussion about this year's calendar, so I just want to clarify that
It is-
this year's school this year, this exists, the one. we're in.
25, 26?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So
Oh,
the
okay.
25-26 school calendar was voted on in December of 2024.
24.
The majority of this board was not here. That calendar, as in everything else we vote on up here, not us, but whoever was up here, anything that's voted on cannot be changed unless this board votes on it again. That is the law. Mr. Jacoby, do you want to?
That is correct.
Yeah, so I know that there was maybe confusion or discussion, but that calendar was decided. No one can change it unless the board reconvenes and votes on it again. So the discussion today is happening on the 2026, 2027 school calendar, just as a point of clarification. That's all. Go ahead, Jeannie.
On the potential calendar for the 26-27 year, I see we start on a Tuesday, that's September 1st.
Yes.
Is there any precedence or history of starting on the Monday, August 31st, so that there's not a dismissal date of Monday on June 21st for kindergartners who hate Mondays?
Do you want me to answer that question?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, so the calendar is adopted by the board. It's the board's prerogative to set the calendar. You have, it's a non-negotiable managerial prerogative. You could start on August 31st. There's case law on this. The board has the right to start the calendar when they deem fit. They can't extend you sell 184 days, that's negotiable. When those 184 days start, that's the board's prerogative. And so a calendar is the board's ultimate decision, and they make the decision of, what holidays are going to be off, where you build in the snow days. If you run over the snow days, what days get taken back? If you have too many, you don't use the snow days, what days do you give back as days off? That's all the board's decision. And generally, as the president just said, the development of the calendar and the adoption of the calendar always takes place the year prior. So right now, we're in the 25-26 school year. You will adopt the 26-27 school year probably later this month, March latest, so that you give people time and notice of when holidays are, when breaks are, so people can plan accordingly. And this came up many years ago. I think it came up, and Joe might remember, in the 2017, my eyes aren't that great, 2018, the 6 days off, there was a lot of confusion about where were you going to take the days from. And the calendar at the time when it was adopted didn't anticipate that many days. So there was a lot of discussion on the dais about how you guys are going to take back days, and I think it came from some from spring break,
I wasn't here.
President's Day. I mean, you were
Spring break.
scrambling. So now the calendar, what you guys have done is you've basically laid out, if we go beyond the 2 built-in snow days or the 3 built-in snow days, what days do we utilize to make it up? And there's, the parameters. So there's a couple parameters. The schools in New Jersey run on a fiscal year, not a calendar year. So July 1 is the first day, June 30th is the last day. Those 180 days have to occur by no later than June 30th. You can't finish a school year in the next school year, in the next fiscal year. So you have to build the calendar so that you get 180 days in that school year. And that's mandated. You can't have the kids go to school less than 180 days. It's legally mandated that they go to 180. They can go more, but they cannot go less. Minimum days. Board's prerogative to have minimum days. Minimum days have to have a minimum of 4 hours of instruction. They're not 4-hour days. It's 4 hours of actual classroom instruction to qualify under the law as a minimum day. So those are just some of the parameters that the board considers when they build a calendar, and figure out for graduation and I think it was 10 religious holidays you had listed, building those in. Some years you get lucky, some of those religious holidays fall on the weekend, so it gives you a little bit more flexibility. Other years you're not so lucky, they all fall on Monday through Friday, and it takes up days. And as Dr. Maman said, the problem with, I said Maman, right?
Mammon like salmon, remember?
Mammon.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Dr. Mammon said, once you start building in these days and stuff like that,
It goes.
you realize the calendar, there's not lots of
No
wiggle
room
room.
for wiggle room.
And you want to make sure that, if you have snow like we had a couple weeks ago, you have some of those. And there's been districts where they've closed because of power. There was if people remember, October of 2018, there was a snowstorm on Halloween. Trees had leaves on them. trees came down all over New Jersey, knocked out power. There were many districts that were closed for a week because they had no electricity. They had to use 5 snow days beginning of November. So those are things that you can't anticipate, and that's why you try to give people guidance, the parents, the staff, and the kids. How does this calendar work over the next year, so you guys can plan, so everyone can plan accordingly?
Yeah.
You don't want to be changing things on the fly at the last minute.
Yeah, and then we get two for the 26, 27, for instance. Diwali falls on a Sunday. Yay, lucky us. And then Juneteenth falls on a Saturday. So lucky us. So those are 2 days. As opposed to if all of these holidays fall on a weekday, then again, even making it tighter.
Dr. Maiman, sorry, are we able to get the calendar on the TV screen, or do we have that, or no? Just so the, oh, sorry,
So the
the
public.
public can see, yeah.
Oh,
Okay, yeah,
2
take your time.
seconds.
Anyone have a
Thanks,
question?
Karen.
So I have a question just to piggyback off of Dr. Falco's. So that would mean, because the public can't see the calendar right now, but the proposed calendar has us finishing on Monday, June 21st, which would mean that we come back to school for 1 day, following a weekend. Historically, I know parents have wanted to finish by the time the weekend comes. Nobody wants to go back for just 1 day. So I think, according to Mr. Jacoby, we can come back on August 31st, and students would begin September 2nd, correct? Okay,
Correct.
So-
It's August 31st this year is a Monday.
right.
Yeah.
So,
And typically what you do is, if you saw, there's 184 days, and as the superintendent just said, 4 of the days that are for staff only, those are professional development days. There's a lot of mandated laws that the staff, both teachers and support staff, have to be trained on every year. And so those 4 days are utilized for that purpose. Very typical, and typical here, and literally typical probably across the state. Most districts have 2 professional development days prior to students arriving for school, because there's just different laws that the state of New Jersey mandates that your staff is trained on before students come back. So that's very typical. So generally when you build the calendar, the first 2 days you'll see on the calendar are the professional development days, and then the 3rd day would be when the students come back to school.
Yeah, so when we were putting this together and sharing it around, I think in talking to Dana, we didn't think, I didn't think August 31st. I think you told me August 31st was not. Oh. They told, because as we put this together, it wasn't just me, obviously. It's a whole, making sure that all stakeholders looked at it. And the only reason we started the first was because I had a conversation with Dana, and she was like, absolutely not. The contract is September 1 to June 30th, but I didn't see September 1 in the contract at all. I didn't see that language there. That's why I have it as September 1.
But again, what I said before, that doesn't matter. I won the case. It was in the Appellate Division of New Jersey. You can start before September 1.
I'm just giving you context, sir.
I'm just saying, that is the PERC, the Public Employment Relations Commission, and the Appellate Division ruled that that's a managerial prerogative.
Thank you.
thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Zoom in a little, I think yeah.
It was good before. Might not. Maybe what you had it before, yes.
Yeah,
Zoom
that's
that way.
that's okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, God bless you. I think for the
Yeah.
our public who was able to
Yes.
come in.
So I just wanted to say that was why I started the first. And then because the high school has the 21st available for, or on hold for graduation, and that's typically the last day, hence why that's there coming up on Monday. I even had them look for the 18th, and the 18th is available at 10 o'clock, and I was told that the 18th, at 10 o'clock, it would be difficult to get everybody at the Kia Arena for 10 o'clock. It's typically 11 o'clock that they're used to because of all the pre-stuff that they have to do, so.
Any other questions? Antoinette, oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Antoinette.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for the work that went into this in a very short time, because I know that you weren't informed that you had to put a calendar together in this small,
Sold
for
me
this
a
school
lie.
year.
Okay, no, you weren't here. You didn't hire. You
I
didn't
didn't
hire me.
I wasn't here.
The ones
I
who
just got
hired
here.
me sold me a lie.
So
We're still happy you're here.
I know that because of that, there wasn't a calendar committee in place and you had to
Yes.
do what you could do. So I
Yes.
understand that part. So I am formally requesting that we add a calendar committee and moving forward, because a lot of the conversations could have
Happened
answered-
at that.
yeah,
Yes, I agree.
right.
I agree.
Especially with booking the high school, I mean, they did that for you, but booking the high school's
Yay me.
graduation day without you knowing. Okay, so if we're moving past that start date and last day's school, I do have questions about some of the suggestions I sent to you. I don't see them being recognized here. I know that we have, no, it's okay. That's why we're talking.
Go ahead. What'd you?
So we do have 2 snow days, so thank you for that, 2 emergency days, so I appreciate that, so this way at least we don't have to worry about where we're gonna pull the other days from. And families could plan accordingly. One of the snow days is, emergency days, was for the Monday after Easter.
Yes.
Right. I had wondered why it couldn't have been the Thursday before Easter, since Holy Thursday is really a huge holiday for our community, and a lot of people are in churches throughout the day.
It could be.
No, I know, so that's why we're
Okay.
talking.
It's not a.
The other question I had, and I think that we're going to get pushback from this from parents, because one of the major feedbacks I got is we are an extremely inclusive community, and that's amazing, right?
Yes.
But a lot of the parents are having trouble finding coverage for their students because their jobs are not off when we're off. The other emergency day is on June 1st, which is the June primary.
Yes. Well, which I now found out it's now June 8th, by the way, so that would change too.
Okay,
changed
so
it
I
last
don't
year.
think it should be, I don't think it should be on a primary day at all, because majority of people are gonna work that day, and that's gonna leave families having to use paid time off, and they're probably trying to save that for their summer break, whenever that's gonna begin.
Okay.
So I would like to see it maybe moved to a
So
different
you're
day.
saying that the primary election day we should be in school?
It's already a half
It's
day.
always, the students have always been in school, in our district. Other districts do have that day off, so, I mean, it's not unusual to have the day off.
Okay.
I just know it's never been done here during my children's tenure, so I'm not sure if the district parents would be prepared for that day. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if there's another place you can stick that day. Usually,
Absolutely.
in the past, we've used it on Memorial Day weekend.
Okay,
They've
yeah.
turned that into a 4-day weekend. I think everybody likes that.
That's doable.
And then I think that's it. I do have a question about the August 31st day. I understand that you confirmed with you consulted with the union.
Yes.
I just want to know, would the teachers have any pushback on it if they knew that they'd be able to end the year earlier? If that was, Dana, are you allowed to answer?
I think for sure our teachers want to leave earlier. I don't think our teachers want to stay till the end of June. I don't believe so. I think any opportunity for us to leave earlier and have a longer summer break, our teachers will welcome that.
Right. I honestly do believe that we are ending the year later than in the past as well, and people are burnt out. The kids are burnt out, the teachers are definitely burnt out.
Absolutely.
And people are not getting enough time, especially when they have to move in their kids to, you're gonna go through
camp.
this. When they have to bring their high schoolers
College,
to college,
yes.
moving in day, then you have people wanna have their vacations before they start their summer camps, and so I know that the feedback that I've been getting from the community has been that, can we get out sooner than we have been?
Okay.
We also want to recognize that we have a very diverse community, and those days need to be honored as well. The days that are not honored on this calendar, because we do have smaller groups of religious families in our town, that there's not a large enough population for them to have been able to get that recognition. Is there a way for the community to know what days they'd be able to get as an excused absence, so that this way they don't have to worry about asking for that. Believe it or not, there are people who don't know that they can ask for that to be recognized as an excused day.
State-approved holidays are even on the website, and if they're there,
Do we have it on our website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
There's also a
Because a parent asked me just last
There's
night,
a
and I
On
didn't
our
know if they
website,
had
it's
it.
excused anyway, not a problem.
I can get you the list. There's a list that the state of New Jersey puts out for recognized religious observances.
That's on
And-
our website.
Oh, yeah, and
That's what we're
it's
saying.
amazing how many religious holidays would count as
almost
an
180
excused
of them.
absence.
Right, no, and I appreciate that you gave
It's
that,
on the
one of those
website.
emergency
Yes,
days
yeah.
on that Monday, because I'm Sicilian and Easter Monday is much bigger than Easter Sunday even.
See, for
But,
me, Holy Thursday is more.
right, but I know Holy
Same.
Thursday is a bigger day for the community. They
But
don't
it
care
was not
me.
about me, I was just thinking about the
Right,
system.
but
that's all.
I know because, I go by what the community is telling me. So
Yes.
Monday's working out for me, but I'm not voting for me. So I want to make sure I mention that. Otherwise,
Okay.
I think you did a pretty good job in a short time. So I'm glad that we were able to have this discussion, and hopefully there'll be some.
We'll definitely consider.
Considerations.
Yeah, and put in some of the stuff you mentioned.
I mean, that's just my suggestion. The board has to
No, I
decide.
mean-
what they-
So for the record, we care about you, Antoinette.
Thank you.
So there you
Thank
go. Let's see. It's just like a quick naive question. Is there a reason why high school graduation has to be a school day for the students?
Matt?
Attorney?
Say it again?
Is there a reason why high school graduation day has to be a school day for the students?
What students? High school
High
students
school
or elementary
High
students?
school students.
Well, unofficially.
Or
Yeah, so you have to have,
yeah.
so you have to.
She's not coming in.
You have to have staff.
Right,
So you can't, so remember, the 184 days, that's the contractual obligation, so we couldn't make it on the 185th day, make people come back. The other thing too is, I've seen some schools where they'll do like the high school graduation, like on a Friday or a Thursday night, and then the last day of school is Friday. Realizing that the really last day of school is Friday, but none of the high school seniors will be there on that Friday.
Of course.
Maybe just saying.
Yeah.
But,
Hold on, we have a senior right here.
okay, so if we had graduation on Thursday, would I see you Friday morning?
Well, if we had graduation on a Thursday, technically I feel like I wouldn't be a student at school, so I wouldn't come on Friday. But we usually have rehearsal the day before graduation. So it was June 25th last year as well. So we had that weekend, and then the Friday we had rehearsal. So chorus rehearses, then the seniors also rehearse for graduation. So I don't know if that helps or if it.
So this is where I'm. This is what popped into my
job,
head. On the calendar. So I recognize that that moving graduation day would be difficult. I think one of the things we're kicking around is we add on a school day on August 31st that allows us to take off the school day on June 21st. That way, the students don't have to come to school on a Monday just for the one day before starting their summer vacation. But we also have this limitation about, well, if we were going to do that, then the logical thing to do would be to move graduation to Friday, June 18th, and we have the issue with the 10 o'clock start time, which could also be discussed. But be that as it may, is there a way of making the 18th a school day, having the school year end on there, and then just holding graduation ceremonies on the 21st? Because for the teachers, it's still going to be a work day for them,
Yes.
right? Regardless of whether or not they're having duties at graduation or not. And the students, it's graduation day. They're going to want to participate, and I don't think they're going to count it as a school day.
Team?
The last day by contract, but by contract, the last day of school for staff is an early dismissal day. So we would need to be finished with graduation
By noon.
12:30.
Okay, yeah, so that's not going to happen. Yeah, okay, all right. I'm trying.
Yeah.
No, but this is good because this is how you get to the
Yeah.
solution,
I
right?
think
It's
it-
not just a one-person job.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. We're all learning.
Dr. Braun.
Yes, so I just want to make sure I understand this. Currently, for this school year,
25, 26?
25, 26, the last day of school and graduation is June 25th. Is that correct?
That is,
I know, she's counting down the days.
that is correct.
I'm so happy for you.
That is correct.
Okay, so looking at the calendar that we have up here, the 26, 27, we already are getting out several days earlier
Yes,
because it's the 21st as opposed to the 25th.
that is true.
So that already is an improvement over, what we have this year. And I just want to point out, I've been in education for 40 years. I just had my 40th anniversary of my first teaching job. So I've seen it all.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All different. I mean, there was one year we had so many snow days. I don't know if it was in this district or another district. We went up until the 30th of
gosh.
June. And the only reason I remember is because I was teaching summer school on July the 1st, and that was horrible. So this calendar, we already are getting out sooner than we were this year. My biggest concern for starting before September 1st, if we look at the calendar, we already have a couple of days here of orientations, student orientations going back to August 25th and August 26th. So we're back into August for those things. And while it's not so bad for this calendar because it's only one day, it's the 31st is a Monday, how does that play out in the future when Labor Day is on a different date? So I just did like a real quick, look. 2029, Labor Day is September the 3rd. I mean, would we be setting a precedent saying, oh, well, we'll just start the Monday before Labor Day, which is August 27th? That makes me nervous, setting a precedence. Now, I know, Matt, you mentioned that you worked for a school district that started on the 23rd of August. Wasn't it something? Yeah, that's crazy.
There's a lot of districts, after the appellate division case, after the appellate division case in 2018, many of the school districts in North Jersey, and it started in Morris County, but one of them can start as early as August 23rd.
Yikes.
But I would say
but
that a
that's-
majority of them, I don't know of any of them in Morris County that starts September 1st. They all start in late August.
Okay.
Most of them I would say is, August 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, in that
Right.
realm. Depending on when
When Labor
August
Day is.
fall. Because every year, if you look at a calendar, Labor Day is late this year,
Mm-hmm.
but 7 years from now, Labor Day is going to be like September 1st or 2nd.
Right.
Yeah.
So then they start earlier in August. And a lot of that, they do that too, is because when you have sports teams, the kids, if you have a high school, kids are back in early August.
Yeah,
doing-
marching band, same thing,
yeah,
band camp.
Marching band, band camp, any type of sports.
Right.
Lots of the extracurricular things start in August for the high schools.
Right. So I'm just throwing that out there. It makes me nervous. I don't like the idea of setting a precedence because while it's not a big deal, it's only one day this year. For other years, it could be a big deal. And especially since we're, I'm looking at the orientations that have to happen. So do we really want people coming in mid-August? I mean, not all the buildings are completely air-conditioned. So even you get the same thing, right? The issue
Yes.
with
With the
With the heat.
facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because
oh.
I know even our director of facilities wanted me to just consider that it was too short a time in the summer for them to get to all buildings and do what it is that they need to do, considering that some of our buildings are being used for camp, and then he has to bring in more workers to kind of double time it. So there are other things to consider as well.
Just as a point of clarification, I mean, we're talking about one day, so I know they have to do all that, but
Yes.
it's one day.
Yes.
The other thing about the setting the precedent, so I checked back, the last time the district started before Labor Day was in the 2015-2016 school year. So it's been almost 10 years, and that's because of how the calendar cycles. I don't believe it would set a precedent. I do think that maybe, like as Mr. Giacobbe says, as Labor Day gets later, this is an unusual circumstance for us
Yeah.
this year because Labor Day is so late. But, historically, it hasn't been. It's been September 3rd or so, so we would start after Labor Day at that point. At least that's what historically has been done.
Okay.
So I just, yeah. That's all. Antoinette.
I'm going to put on the record now, I'm not coming back here August 23rd, so that is definitely not going to be a vote, yes vote for me.
But I
I'm not
believe that
suggesting-
was.
I'm just saying, there's a school district that has the ability to start, yeah.
But that's not going to work for me.
Anybody else? So I actually received questions beforehand from the public. I know some of the answers to these questions, but I want to ask them so that the information is out there.
Okay.
So the first one is, can we be virtual on snow days? Mr. Jacoby,
No.
please
It's
tell
like
us why.
Jeopardy.
Yes.
No.
No.
And I agree with that. Kids.
No, but can you please explain the legal reasons why we can't? It's not our decision. It's
So the
just- yeah.
state of New Jersey Department of Education makes that determination. Just about 2 weeks ago, there's a primary election going on today up in Passaic County that recently came to fruition when our new governor, Governor Sherrill, was elected and gave up her seat in Congress.
Yeah.
Governor Murphy had to set an election day for the primary. He picked today. The school, Wayne and other schools in Passaic County asked they needed to close because they have their schools are polling places and they couldn't have law enforcement there in the buildings. So they asked if they could do it virtual, and the state said, no, you can't. So it's not your decision, it's the state of New Jersey's decision. There was another district that tried to do it on a snow day up in North Jersey, Bergen County School District. And they said, it's a snow day, so we're gonna go virtual. And the state of New Jersey said, oh, that was great, you did that. Those days
Doesn't
don't count.
count.
Redo them.
Yeah.
So you can't do them.
Okay, thank you.
I believe the only time we can be remote is if something happens 3 days, more than 3 days. Consecutively. Yeah.
Thank you. Can we remove all religious holidays, recognize only federal holidays, and then have everyone use an excused absence? For the record, these are not questions that I am in agreement or disagreement with. I'm just putting it out there for public knowledge. So can we remove all religious holidays, only recognize federal holidays, and give everybody an excused absence on their religious holiday?
I mean, could you legally? I think that would be very difficult to do. I can tell you of a district that I'm familiar with that said, we're not going to have religious holidays. We're just going to call them, they didn't indicate any religion. They just said these are days off. And the public went nuts because, frankly, East Brunswick is a diverse community and you should celebrate your diversity. And religion is an important component. Whatever religion you celebrate is an important component to a lot of people's lives and their cultures. And so by recognizing that day, you're actually giving credence. And the criticism of this board when they did this, I don't represent them, I'm just aware that this occurred, was how could you denigrate our religions by just making it like December 25th is a day off. Gee. Everyone knows it's Christmas Day. I mean, there are certain days that everyone knows that Good Friday, Easter Sunday is always off. But it didn't work out well. The other thing, too, is that, as the superintendent indicated, federal holidays and state holidays don't necessarily align. Juneteenth is the perfect example. Friday and a Monday. It makes life really interesting if you're a lawyer because courts are closed, state courts are closed on Friday for Juneteenth, and federal courts are open. And then on Monday, federal courts are closed for the federal holiday, and state courts are open. So guess what? You don't have the day off. So having just the federal holidays off would not work. There's actually a law on the books that says if a staff member wants to take off a federally recognized holiday, they can take the day off.
Yes,
and
they
as the
can.
superintendent said, they just have to make that day up based on communications with the superintendent. So I would say that the better thing to do is to put the holidays on so that and that's the common practice. The one district I know that tried to do it, it didn't work out well at all. And they went back to putting the religious holidays on
And I will just add, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Mammon, but some religious groups are so large in this community, and we do need a certain quota for attendance that it wouldn't even count as a school day if we didn't have a certain percentage of the student population present. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's very loose there, but for sure, for us, we have to make sure we can staff. And we have to get to a certain percentage in order to be able to staff our buildings.
Okay. And do you know that percentage is? Anyone know?
51?
It doesn't matter, but I'm just saying we do have
Yeah,
some.
I think it's got to be, and the other.
A little, yeah.
Yeah, the other huge problem, as the superintendent just noted, if you have a major holiday and your staff's not here, you have to have adequate staffing for supervision.
Yes.
So,
So
but
that-
it's at
that's-
least 50% have to be in attendance, both staff and students.
Okay, thank you. And then the other question was, some people don't even want the holidays off. They would just like them recognized on the calendar. Is that possible? So that, when they're in school that day, if the teachers notice that there's a holiday that day, they can talk about it or include it that way instead of just being a day off. Is that legally allowed?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean,
Okay.
I think it's, some might even say that's better than having a day off and you don't know why you have a day off. You could get to learn about a different culture from yours or something that you didn't know. Certainly, yes, we could do that.
Okay, all right.
If I may, I just want to throw out that the Human Relations Council in East Brunswick could coordinate on that project. We have a running list of holidays that we try to celebrate and recognize for our neighbors, so we could assist with that.
Okay, Dr.
Thank you.
Falco.
Thanks. That's it. I mean, I just want to end in saying that we are an inclusive community and we pride ourselves on that. And I also have limited PTO days, but I don't mind inconveniencing myself so that my neighbors are able to take a day off and celebrate. Our students, especially as they get into the secondary schools, it's a lot of work to make up when you take a day off even as an excused absence. It is a lot. And I think, as Dr. Mammon pointed out early on, especially as they get into April and May, it's very challenging. So I think if we really want to reflect who we are as a community, this is inclusive of everybody, and that's important to me. I know that's important to a lot of my fellow board members. I spoke to one parent today who was saying they were really nervous to have their holiday off because they didn't want everyone in town to hate them as the reason that they had to take a day off. And that crushed me. And I hope that's not who we are as a community. I know that's not who we are as a community. And I hope that we all wouldn't mind being a little bit inconvenienced here and there in order for our neighbors to be able to feel like they are loved and celebrated when it's their turn. That's all.
I can attest to using PTO for holidays that are not, more broadly recognized, and definitely can attest that it gets harder as the kids get older.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Good. Thank you, Dr. Mammon. I agree with Mrs. Evola. You did a great job in such a short
Yes.
time, and
We
please
all
don't
agree,
hate
and we
us.
thank you, Dr. Mammon, for that.
Okay. All right. Moving on. James, student representatives report.
Hello, good evening, everyone. To get us started, I'm announcing that video newsmakers are back, starting a brand new era featuring me. We filmed our first video and it's ready to air tomorrow. The AP team, We the People team, advanced to the Nationals, are ready to take on DC. The countless nights studying and preparing earned them gold. Our mock trial team won the county tournament in a well-deserved win. This Friday, Chinese Honor Society is hosting their Lunar New Year celebration from 6 to 8 p.m. Tickets are $10 and $12 at the door. There will be games, dumpling making, temporary tattoos, and so much fun. Our arts program is in full swing with 2 concerts next week, the District Chorus Festival on Monday. The high school performs and gets to sing with the kids. It's a free to enter, but donations are held at the door. The family concert with orchestra and chorus is next week on February 11th, both at Hughes. NHS is hosting its annual blood drive February 11th during school. Seniors and juniors who are 17 and up can donate those. Those who are 16 need a parent waiver. Cupid House, hosted by Music Honor Society, is February 13th. Auditions were held this afternoon. It's a fun night with singing, dancing, and love. Anime Club is hosting a Mario Kart World Tournament, which I'm excited to see. Never seen that. Black Student Union is hosting its annual Harlem Renaissance event, February 19th. Performances, presentations, poetry, food, dances, and a great way to celebrate Black History Month. Culturama, hosted by International Cultures Club, February 27th, is an around-the-world event with students showcasing their culture. Next up is our sports highlights. Ice hockey played in EB's new arena game on the 4th, also celebrating the 5 seniors securing a victory for the Bears. Girls swim team won their 4th consecutive win, and our school-wide volleyball tournament, winners of each individual blocks faced off. Now, it's second semester, and I think the senioritis is kicking in, but I hope to have the most fun 4 months. Thank you.
Okay,
Jane,
moving on.
Jane, I don't know if I remember, but the Ipple team's accomplishment with winning the state, that's 34 out of 39 years, right?
I believe so, yes.
Dang. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive. That is impressive. Yeah. Okay, so we are moving on to our next and final presentation, our demographer's report. We have Mr. Ross Haber here with us from Ross Haber and Associates to share with us our demography report for a possible redistricting.
Good evening, everybody. Dr. Maman, board members, members of the community. Tonight, I'd like to make, it's basically an initial presentation to the board of a study that we've been conducting for just over a year. Originally, the target for this study was September, but a number of turnovers in administration, a number of things, and then with a new board coming in, and then now waiting for if we're going to wait this long, we might as well wait for the October 15th enrollment so we can base everything on the most current. So that brings us to tonight. So anyway, the study had 3 prongs, okay? First was doing an enrollment projection to the district. Take a look at what the enrollment would look at by district and by school over the next 5 years. The second prong of the study was to take those projections and apply them to each of the elementary schools. This is a K-4 study, by the way. That was the scope of the study. To take those projections, to apply them to each of the schools, to see what those schools would look like at the end of 5 years. How much instructional space, what class sizes would look like, and take a look at that to see what we could do with those buildings. The third prong of the study is the most interesting one, and that's what we're calling redistricting. You might call it de-districting, in this sense. Over every one of these schools in this district have non-contiguous boundaries. What I mean by that, those are boundaries that are not central to the home attendance zone of students. Some of them are like wildly out of step. So what we wanted to do is see if we could take all of these conditions, projections based on history, take the way it impacts the schools, and see if we could consolidate the boundaries. Not consolidate the schools, consolidate the boundaries. The projections show that the schools need to stay the way they are because of growing enrollment, class size conditions, and all of those different kinds of things. So I want to go through this presentation and not bore you with too much statistical data, but get through it and get to your questions, because I'm sure you're going to have a lot of them. So the first, as I said, we did the projections. The projections told us that because of the amount of construction going on in East Brunswick, because that we'll see steady growth, not enormous growth, but steady growth of enrollment in this district. So we are at now, it looks like whatever we do is sustainable for at least the next 5 years. But again, it's based on history and based on construction. So let's go right to the projections. Okay. The methodology that we use for enrollment projections is called the cohort survival method. The cohort survival method is the method of projections that are required by the state of New Jersey when you file your 5-year long-range facility plan. The state will only accept that. And what cohort projections are based on are live births attributable to the school district, okay, and that's what used to project kindergarten, and a 6-year history of enrollment. And to that, so we take that, we create the cohort projection. To that, we add the possible impact of new housing development. So the projections I'm going to show you tonight include not only the cohort survival method, but also include the impact of the new construction, new developments coming into the school district. So let me go to those screens. I got control. Okay, it's going to be difficult for the audience to see, but this is a cohort survival projection for the entire district. The base year being 2019-20, the current year being 2025, and the out year being 2030-31. So in 2019-20, the base year, there are 8,209 students in the school district. That declined to about, by the opening of school this year, 8,077 students. So that was about 160 or 170 student decline. The long-range projection in 2030-31 is 8,174 students. So we're coming close to the 2020-21 total. Okay, going through that. Now, you look around, you see these huge developments, the one on Tice's, the one down on 18, and you say there's so many apartments and so many possibilities there. It's important to consider that two things happen. One, when you consider students coming in from new developments, it's not additive. In other words, if 500 students are coming in, it's not 500 added to what you have. It's 500 that interact with the cohort projection, which has ebbs and flows. An example of how this works, if you would, and again, I'm sorry that you can't see this. Example, in 2000, the 12th grade, just use an example, the 12th grade graduating class of 2023 was 665 students. The entering kindergarten class of 2024-25 was 390. So you graduate a lot more kids than you bring in. But over the course of the projection, they change as kids move in and out of the district. So again, people look and say these developments are going to have 1,000 more kids. It doesn't quite work that way. Another reason it doesn't work that way is because there are parameters for doing multipliers. So for example, a 4-bedroom house that's worth $3 million has a different kind of student yield than a 2-bedroom condo. Okay, so we do by bedroom counts, we do by value of the property, the type of property, and so the numbers never really are what people think. Okay, and that's kind of important to note because sometimes what people think can cause situations. I won't mention. There's a school district a lot of years ago that there was a projection, which I didn't do. Okay, that projected an enormous amount of kids, and the high school was built for 1,600 kids. They never got that high school past 800. Okay, so you got to be really, really careful. And of course, the other side is you can under-project and wind up having kids falling out of windows, and we don't want that either. So anyway, we go. Sorry about that. Anyway, next slide is. Okay, so this slide kind of shows that there's a general stability in the enrollment. The bottom blue, the bottom blue are your K-4 enrollment. You can see there's a steady increase in that enrollment, which is important because that's going to flow through the system over the coming years. Okay, and same thing for the 5-6 grade, a slight enrollment. The middle school and the high school are fairly stable. Okay, stable. So again, when you think about it, if you're going from 8077 to 8174, it's just under 100 kids over the next 5 years. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind. So there's stability there. Okay. And what's important about that is we go forward with looking at the facilities, we have to determine how much growth can exist in your current state. In other words, can your buildings absorb more students? Okay. Our conclusion is that they can. Okay, so now let's look at the current boundary analysis. I'm going to show you a whole series of maps of pictures after this, but in the next segment, I want to talk about the existing boundaries. And the first school I'm showing you, and I'm going to show you others later on, is Frost. Okay. Okay, let's go back one. Okay, this is Frost. The black outline that you can see, that's the existing zone Frost. So anything that's in those black outlines but are white are students that are currently going to other schools from the Frost District. A more impactful statement of that is to look at this. Oh, keep going back. Okay, yep, okay, okay. That little circle in there, okay, those are students who are in the who go to Memorial Elementary School, but are located or attend school in the Lawrence area. Okay, so that little circle has 86 students that are transported from there into Memorial, and that's not only there. This exists in a lot of places, but that's a really good example of what happens. So again, what does that mean? It means longer rides, probably more cost in transportation, and a number of issues like that. Given the traffic, in East Brunswick, you can add 10 or 20% any ride time at all. So, and this exists throughout the district. So those are one of the things that we really, really wanted to tackle in this project. So, revisions. Okay. Well, in the revisions, we had to take a look at a number of different things. Number one, as we consolidate these boundaries, maybe create more like neighborhood boundaries, neighborhood schools. Okay, as we move towards that, a number of potential conflicts come up. Number one, will what we do, or will what you do, because it's your decision ultimately, will that allow us? Will it support growth in the community? We don't want to do anything that says, okay, you're at 100%, you can't grow anymore. So it was important that we make sure that whatever we do allows for growth in the school. Again, we want to totally eliminate the non-contiguous boundaries. And that's supported by the Transportation Department. Everybody agrees that that's probably going to be a great thing for the school district if you do it. We need to accommodate growth. Two areas that are going to have a bigger impact from growth would be Central and Lawrence Brook. So we want to be careful that we want to make sure that we allow for growth in those areas. And the other thing too, and this is the more difficult thing, okay? We wanted to try to move as few students as possible. Depending on how you look at few, we'll talk about that a little bit as it comes, how you define few. So the question is, we know we have to move a lot of students, and I'll give you those numbers in a minute. But the bottom line, is it worth over time to get this done properly and get this all organized right? So let me just show you, first of all, what the tentative, if you would go to, did I skip it? Okay, Ben, visions. Okay, if we were to go to a fully, neighborhood schools, contiguous boundaries, it would look like this. Every boundary would be, that would be Lawrence Brook, that would be Memorial, that would be Central, that would be Weinsdorfer, Frost, Irwin, Chittick, and Bound Monroe. So those are all consolidated boundaries, okay? And in terms of enrollment, they work, okay? But again, getting there is going to be maybe a bit of a test. So I'm not going to, I'll show you more boundaries later. Okay, so let's talk about movement. And this is probably the part of the discussion that's the most difficult, all right? In order to accomplish this as a whole, we need to move about 854 students. And that's about 33% of your elementary population. That's a big number. And the problem with that number is that there's no way to really do this piecemeal. Okay, and that's a major decision on the part of the board. Now, the plus of this, is that kids are coming back to their own neighborhoods. A lot of times when I'm doing redistricting studies and we have to move kids out of an area but not do it in this manner, people say, well, they're losing their friend, they're going to give up their friends, they're going to be out of their neighborhood. This is kind of the opposite of that. Okay, I know that the children who've been in these schools for a long time made friends in those schools, but they also have friends in their neighborhood. So again, it's a decision, it's a trade-off. And the trade-off being lowering transportation costs, making better use of facilities, shorter ride times, and consolidated and neighborhood schools. Again, a difficult decision because of the total number of students that have to be moved. And and I know that's difficult. That's kind of a difficult concept. So again, difficult to see. What this table is showing you are the puts and the takes, meaning that the puts being kids being put into other schools, the takes puts being to receiving schools, the takes being to receive. How many speak English? Okay, how many children are moving to a school? What school? How many children are moving into a school? It's a kind of exchange, and if we look at it, if we look at this, if you look at you have the table there. If you go across. Okay, the tables across, it'll show you the students that are moving out of a particular school. Okay, so for example, in Bound Monroe, we'd have 14 children going to Chittick and 4 going to Frost. And I also need to point out something else. Part of this realignment eliminates most of the crossover of Route 18. Chittick is on one side of 18, Frost, Bound Monroe, Irwin, they're all on one side. There's only one school that was a small crossover, and I think that's Chittick up north. But we basically eliminated that crossover. Not that kids walk across that, but the traffic lights and the traffic are an enormous problem. So I think that's another positive trade-off in doing this. But again, so we're looking at these numbers. We have a total number of students moving out of their current school is 854, and the total number of students moving into a new school is 854. So it's a balance. It's a zero-sum gain on this kind of a thing. But the bottom of this table tells you how many kids are moving to the proposed school and what the net gain in each building, the net enrollment in each building is. So for example, at the end of this, Bound Monroe would be plus 17 children. Central would be minus 5 children. And that's out of total enrollment, okay? Chittick would be down, would have a drop of 21 children. Frost, a drop of 20 children. Irwin, and it's misspelled there, I'm sorry, there's a V, it should be a W. 47 children would go into Irwin, 83 would go into Lawrence Brook, 81 would leave Memorial, and 20 would leave Warnsdorfer. So again, when we take those numbers and we look at them and how they stack up against room utilization and class size, they work. Okay, so now the next part of this. Okay, what the board adopted in November, I believe, utilization of the FES, the facility efficiency standard. Okay. Let me explain what that means. The facility efficiency standard, the FES, comes from the long-range facility plan. Okay. What's the long-range facility plan? It's every 5 years the board has to follow a long-range facility plan. What that plan is, it looks at every space in a school building, instructional, administrative, service, whatever, okay? It looks at every space and assigns a square footage to them. So that square footage is based on certain parameters. So for example, we're only concerned with classrooms in this study. That's what we're concerned with. And so what the facility efficiency plan says that for grades K through 4, an allotment of 36 square feet per child is allowed in the classroom. So what they simply do is they take the square footage, divide it by 36, and say that's how many kids you can go into a classroom. So that's again what the board decided to do. Now, boards have the right to do anything they want with class size, but for this study, we were going with what the board determined as policy in November. I'm correct, it was November, right? Yeah. So anyway, so from that, what it's saying, okay, for each building, it's assigning a value to every grade level. So again, and it's just coincidentally, all of the kindergarten classes are assigned 20 kids, maximum 20 kids in a classroom to meet the FES standard. Okay, then as you go through this thing, you'll see that there are variations. Now, Bound Monroe has 17, 17, 17 in grades 1 through 3 and 19 in grades 4. That's because there are different sized classrooms in the building. So when you see differentiations in these numbers, it's just that there are some rooms that are larger than other rooms, and so they'll give that number. So what we used in the study is that we used that to determine the number of sections needed. We just took the number of children in each grade level, divided it by the standard, whatever the standard was, target was, and that's what we used. And we did not, in this study, we did not exceed that number. But that doesn't mean, but realistically, we know that if you get a section of, let's say you get a section of 18 kids in the first grade in Bound Monroe, just using an example, even though the standard is 17, you're likely not to split a class to two sections of 9. So we know there's flexibility built into this thing. It's a standard, it's not a regulation, okay? It's something that you address too, but you're not bound by it. Because in New Jersey, theoretically, you can go up to 30 kids in a class and not violate the law. No one ever does that, but I'm just saying it's a standard. So we know that that standard gives us a target, but not necessarily a final. Okay, so now what we did with that is we then determined the number of sections required under the standard, how many sections needed each school. So example, in Bud Monroe, using the standard, we need 13 sections. In Central, we need 17. In Chittick, we need 19. In Frost, 22. This is the number of sections per grade, okay? We're clear on that. Lawrence Brook needs 21, Memorial 19, and Warrensdorfer 20. So this is the number of sections we need to meet that standard. Then we wanted to go back and take a look at, okay, if we use that standard, what are the average class sizes in each building? We want to see, is there a huge differentiation? So if we take a look at that, the across the board average class size in Bon Monroe is 14. In Central, it's 18. In Chittick, it's 16. Frost is 16. Irwin is 16. Lawrence Brook is 20. Memorial is 18. And Warrensdorfer is 17. Bound Monroe, because it has smaller classrooms, is going to have some smaller class sizes on average. But these would be the class sizes, and they're rather good and they're rather small. Okay, so what that tells me is that we can have some expansion. So, for example, we have 13. Let's use kindergarten in Bound Monroe. There are 13 kindergarten kids, and this is just single sections, by the way. There are 13 children in that section. 20 is the cap. That means we have room to grow 7 kids in that section. So as growth, and that we do that across every grade level. So if you take the target, you take the actual number of children in that class, and you look at the difference between the target, okay, and the actual. That's the amount of growth. Yeah, we call that kind of vertical. We call that vertical capacity. You know, how much room do you have to grow in a grade level? And again, that tells you what you have. The next one is the next slide. Then does this complete analysis. If we're using the standard, what is the reality of what we need? So if we're looking at the number of actual rooms in a classroom, we take a look. We have two schools with a very small deficit, Bound Monroe and Irwin. That if we just use that standard, they're short 1 classroom. But we have enough vertical capacity. We didn't do that. Okay, we didn't say, okay, we're going to go to 18. We're going to create 2 sections, because that would be misleading. So what we did is we left the vertical capacity. So even though if you just use the standard, you have a deficit of one room in each of those schools. In reality, you don't. Okay, because you've got enough vertical capacity to deal with that. As far as the other schools are concerned, Central has 2, Chittick 1 plus, Frost 1, Lawrence Brook 1, Memorial is even, and Warrensdorfer has 2. By the way, just again, excluded from all of this are dedicated rooms. So meaning that we excluded art rooms, we excluded music rooms, we excluded special needs rooms, because we know we need to have those. So we're only focusing on, in this study, the need for general education and mainstream students. Mainstream special ed means students that are in mainstream classes but may be pulled out for resource. So we all of those rooms are set aside. So that's not an issue with this study. So, okay. So what we believe and what you have to kind of evaluate and assess, and there'll be more data given to you over time. This is just a presentation tonight. Assess can this be done? Do you want to stay with the facility standard? Do you want to raise the target a little bit, because these are pretty generous targets? that exists here. But again, those are board decisions. So we think, though, that this certainly does eliminate the non-contiguous boundaries, the island boundaries. We don't think that any school is disproportionately impacted by the moves, because the moves are in and out, and every single school in the district is included. There's no one evades this thing. Limited changes, over a course of a year, occasionally you may get a bubble group that goes through and some accommodation. You may be made for that bubble group as it flows through. We haven't seen one here yet, but it can happen. So, and we don't, but again, we think that even with, unless it's extreme bubble group, what I mean is one particular grade that's got a greater number than all the other grades around it. So we believe that there's enough vertical capacity to accommodate anything but the most extreme bubble group going through. And so just really quickly, that's the substance of the data of this report. Again, summarized everything. There's a lot more behind it, but okay, so what I want to do here is just take a quick tour of, okay, so here's Bound Monroe. The outline is the current boundary, and you see it crosses 18. The solid color is the proposed boundary. Get a chance to look. Okay. Okay, this is okay. Sorry, I have to laugh at this. It looks like a pussycat. And the black outline is the current school boundary for Central. The solid colored area represents the proposed boundary. So you can see that's a lot. Okay. By the way, I have to tell you, I've been doing this for a lot of years. I've never seen anything like this. Now, by the way, I assume this was done to relieve overcrowding many years ago. And no, I don't want to know then. I don't want to know. Not important. It was a very long time ago. Okay, this again is Chittick. The black outline represents the current. The solid color represents the proposed. And again, no crossover of Route 18. Okay. This is Frost. We've shown that before. By the way, that area, that below, I think it's below Cranberry Road, there's nobody there. So it's just a nice color, okay? We can eliminate that in our next iteration.
Excuse me, I grew up there, that place.
Well, there's something there.
Yeah, yes, there is. My
Yeah.
mother's house is there.
There were no kids, when we did this, there were no kids there. But we included it in. So that address will, look, the addresses include, yes. When you
It's
get the
okay.
report of the boundaries and addresses, your mom's house will be there, I
Sorry,
promise you.
Mr. Haber, Dr. Braun loves to laugh,
is-
so.
This
she's,
is Irwin. Again, you see the old outline and the new. This is Lawrence Brook. So we just consolidated Lawrence Brook. We took that Memorial boundary out of there. This is Memorial, and again, you see Memorial has all of those white spaces in those black lines are students located in those students going to Memorial now. The solid is what we're proposing, and I think the last one is Warnsdorfer. And Warnsdorfer, you see there's one area up north in the northeast part of the district that sends children to Warnsdorfer. We did expand the Warnsdorfer boundary because of capacity. So the Warnsdorfer boundary basically goes from I guess Riva down to Cranberry. Okay, in this proposal, it also cuts off. I know there was a corner. I think was Dunham's and yeah. Yeah, that where kids could look at the school across the street. We've changed that. You can't see the school anymore. Not, okay. Anyway, so that really is a summary of this presentation. I think you guys have a lot to wrestle with, and I'd be more than happy to answer your questions.
Anybody else speechless?
This is why I wanted you, I didn't give the board.
I'm sorry?
I did not give the board your presentation ahead of time. I wanted them to experience it in real time.
Oh, good. It's not quite as funny on paper as it was up here. I think it's important. Two things are important. Review that, okay? If you've got questions, filter them through Dr. Maman or Mr. Crotchfeld, filter through them. They'll get to me, and my associate. My associate chickened out of making this meeting tonight. No, no. Actually, what happens? The reason Tim isn't here. Sometimes board meetings are scheduled on the same night, and we have to split up.
Yes,
so he's
yes.
at another board meeting in Michigan.
And you live in town.
I'm sorry?
I think it's important you didn't introduce yourself. You didn't say you were an East Brunswick resident.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just thought
What
it's-
about you?
I thought it was important for the board to know and for the public to know that you live here. And
Yes,
you are
I am a
not an
resident.
outsider coming here.
I'm a resident, so if you see me in ShopRite, please don't throw anything at me. Yes, I've been a resident in East Brunswick for 13 years. I don't have any children or grandchildren in the system. I left those to Dr. Maman in South Brunswick. So anyway, so I think it's critical though. Look at this. Ask the questions. We will get back through Dr. Maman and and Mr. Crutchfield to get this to you. Just by the way, I don't want to talk a lot about myself, but I just want to tell you one or two things about myself. By definition, I'm not a demographer. By definition, I'm an educator. I spent a lot of my life as a classroom teacher, a college professor, and a school administrator. So when I look at these things, I look at it from an education point of view. I don't look at it from tape measure. I don't look at it statistically. I know that someone's going to look at this projection as they say, you're only moving one child from this particular. Well, no, let's not move that. Let that one child stay there with some arrangement. I mean, I'm not suggesting that. What I'm saying is that, this is not done heartlessly. This is done knowing that these are not numbers we're moving around, we're moving children around. And that's always a consideration. As you go through this, you're going to find things in it that you're going to come back and say, what are you talking about? But I'll try and answer them, okay? Anything else?
Dr. Falco?
I just wanted to thank you. This was, the color maps and the outlines were really helpful visually to
I
kind
will
of get an
produce-
idea of how
What-
things were put
these
together.
These are JPEGs. I'll produce them as PDFs. So they can be blown up and focused in on, so you can really see the streets, you can see the address numbers and all of those things. I won't put kids on them. We have kids on them because that's how we geocode. But we don't want anybody else to know where these children live, so.
That's great. I appreciate the PDFs because all my questions are going to be
sorry?
for Mr. Crotchfeld once I have that information. I have so many questions about transportation and who's getting bused where. I'm sorry, sir.
So on the maps, I'll create them PDFs and I'll send them to you, and then you can distribute them to the board members, okay? Maybe a little comment on each one in terms of, the numbers and things like that. So maybe a map with a little data set under it, okay? Well, thank you very much. I have a long trip home.
Wait, Mr. Wait. You're not done quite yet, sir. Mr. Haber?
Hi.
Oh, Mr. Haber, we still have some more questions for you.
sorry?
We still have some more questions for you. Is my mic on?
Oh, okay, sure. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay.
Sorry. Thank you for the presentation. I appreciated the color coordination because I'm a visual learner and I'm actually surprised that this went on for 40 years. I think, right, it's 40 years since the last one? I have some questions that I know the community is going to have because I'm thinking about it as if I was a mom who had my students going through one school and now I find
Can you
out.
just a little bit louder, close to the mic?
I'm asking what I know the community is already wondering,
Okay.
my friends who are here and also the ones who are going to be watching this tomorrow. You said that initially everyone's going to think that there's an emotional impact on moving students from what their zone school is right now and then to the new district, to the new redistricting school. You said that eventually that people realize it's not actually as bad as they thought it was going to be. In your experience doing this, when schools have redistricted, how long do you think it took for the kids to adjust to the new school and to that? Wait, two-part question. And then my other question is, have you ever had schools grandfather in a certain grade and start initially with a different grade?
Okay.
Just to, like for third graders, for example, right?
Yep.
They've made it from kindergarten to third grade. Now they're going to fourth grade. It's a big deal moving up ceremony. Now 2 or 3 kids are going to get transferred to a different school and the remaining friends stay there. So that's what,
Well, that's okay. The first thing is that I've never really gotten feedback. I've done about 240 school districts over the last 25 years. I've never gotten feedback of any child having serious problems over this. And if it was the child had other problems, which were addressed by the school district, that were not necessarily caused by the redistricting. The other question you ask is very difficult, all right, in terms of grandfathering. And I understand that. And I that's a board decision. I can only tell you what I've seen in my experience, okay? And I'm going to tell you why I think East Brunswick is unique. I've seen no grandfathering, just that's it, you just go, okay? I've seen grandfathering where they take the rising grade and they let the rising grade remain, but transportation is optional for the parents. Okay, that because what happens, and what I mean by East Brunswick being unique is that could you imagine having to pick up 3 and 4 kids out of these areas and then transport them to, like there's 3 kids up in the Lawrence Brook area going back down to Memorial. How do you bust that? How do you conserve costs? So I've seen districts say, okay, if the parent wants, the child can stay, but the parent has to provide transportation. Okay, I truthfully I've never seen anyone actually have board provided transportation. Where it's always kind of been optional. I get a question. Well, if my rising 4th grader is going, but he's got a sibling in the school. Okay. In most cases where the option is given to the parent, again, my experience, I'm not making a recommendation because you've got to make it for East Brunswick. My experience is that no to the sibling. The cutoff is the rising grade. So, there are numbers of options you can play with, and you got to figure out what they mean. Okay. If I tell you, well, if you could take a poll, would you transport your child? Again, I don't want to get into that because that's really something you guys have to think about. It really wasn't in the 4 corners of the study, but it's something, yes, that always comes up. Okay.
Dr. Pam Wilbur, sorry.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for that. I actually really appreciate that Dr. Mammon wanted us to experience this in real time. So lots of experiencing going on right over here. Yeah. So I wanted to ask some questions. Sorry. I'm trying to use the mic. No? Okay.
Oh, someone else had a question?
Yeah, I'll speak
go ahead.
louder. Sorry. In terms of the assumptions with the new construction, I just wanted to get more clarity on which projects you took into account. It sounds like you took into account the redevelopment up on the north end of Route 18. Does this include what may or may not be what might be done with the mall?
What I did, I got from planning and zoning. They gave me a very, very comprehensive list. Okay, what I project on are things that we know are going to happen. I don't project on speculation. Okay, so I know the big development on Tyson and 18, the one further down on 18. I know those are real. I know there's a third one that's real. Ones that are at the proposal stage or the exploratory stage, no, because first of all, many times they just don't happen for many reasons. The contractors don't get the funding. The environmental thing, it breaks down on them. So no, what I'm projecting on are what we know exists and what's being constructed. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks. Second questions, just for my knowledge. The various differentials between number of students per class, is that solely based on classroom size, or were there any other factors that went into that?
Okay. What I'm based on is the efficiency standard that was done by the state. That's what this report. You can look at this thing and you say, well, I know. You as a board can say, I know you really could put more than 17 kids in that classroom. I know you can. Okay, so as you look at that, you say, listen, we're not as tight as we think. 17 is a very good number. 21 is not a bad number for an elementary school either. So I needed to have a parameter. I just needed a parameter. And the parameter was that. And you guys, the board adopted that. That's what I used. You can stay with that, and this works. You can change it, and that could work also. Remember, class size is your choice as board.
Okay, thanks. Last question. The proposals look great, but eyeballing some of them, there are some boundaries that are drawn that I know the idea is to keep neighborhoods as neighborhoods, but there's some boundaries that are drawn that actually wind up splitting, the natural neighborhood. And I appreciate that you live in town, so and I know you have an appreciation for this. How much room is there to modify these proposals, or is
I'm sorry.
how much room is there to ask for a modification to the proposed plans, or is this what we got?
So as far as the boundary lines, is there wiggle room? Is there the ability to say, instead of the boundary line of two schools being split, on the left side, the right side of the street, it includes both sides of the street?
When we fine tune the maps, that's something we take into consideration, okay? So, so yes, I've got some split streets in there that might say, well, maybe we shouldn't split the street. It's only 4 kids. Let's move the line across over that street. We're not, if depending on what the board wants to do, and say, let's go with this model, we'll then give really fine-tuned maps. The maps I'm going to send you are going to be quite good. You may look at them and say, you may have questions about that. Could you just move this one street over? And I might say to you, no problem. I may say, yeah, move that one street over. It's 37 kids on the street. So, but again, requesting the maps was great because I think that's really going to help you understand what it's about and then be able to fire questions back at me regarding what was the logic of this, what was the reason for it. It may be, well, it can go either way. So we'll go your way, or maybe it was done because of the number of students.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Mr. Cummings.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Can you just go back real quickly to the beginning? Because I want to make sure I heard you correctly, and I'm afraid I may have misunderstood. All of the new development going in right now,
Yeah.
so all of these condos and apartments,
Yeah.
I don't think I heard you correctly, but how does that number factor into? We have to assume and anticipate, right, that there are going to be more children as a result of those new apartments.
So we took it, we assessed the size of the development. We looked at the development in terms of type of unit. Was it a studio? Okay, no kids. Was it one? There are X number of 1 bedrooms, almost no kids. 2 bedrooms has maybe a 0.28. In let's just say in one of the major developments here, 2 bedrooms in that type of unit has a 0.28. 3 bedrooms has a 3.4, and that so at a 3.4, 100 units would yield 34 kids. And that's how that's calculated. And then we add, and then we don't necessarily add it in the sense of saying, okay, next year we're going to get 100 new kids. The projection says 200 kids in the school, so now it's 300. It doesn't work like that. It filters in through the cohort because some of the cohort projection has ebbs and flows. Okay, and also it takes into the fact that kindergarten, there's a mismatch between kindergarten and graduation. That may at some time get closer, but the still is that you're basically losing 600 kids to 300 coming in. So that also affects the ebb and flow. Remember, as kindergarten flows through, it also affects the cohort. So that's how it's factored in. Parameters. Okay, I hope I answered it.
No, I think so. Yeah, I'll rewatch the tape tomorrow and it'll sink in. Will, at the end of this, one other quick question: will your study provide any sort of financial measures that we could take into consideration in terms of what may actually be saved as a result of these efforts?
Cost was not, finance was not in the study. We can say that an estimate that you'll lose X number of buses or something like that. You'll cut transportation by so much, but the financial of that we don't provide. This may mean some changes in staffing. I don't know if it will or it won't, but that's something also that you feel. We save a number of teachers, or we need to hire a number of teachers. Again, not within the 4 corners of a study.
Yeah, if I can just chime in, Tim, I think what we're going to have to do is take the detailed analysis, compare it to what we currently have as far as staffing and class size and everything. That's one piece. And then on the transportation, we're going to have to develop those new routes and see what the net impact is on the number of routes that we have to run. That's going to be a little bit time consuming because we have to run our routes, but also do a couple various scenarios and then apply financial basis to it, whether it's contracted routes or internal. So this is very much like step 1, and to get there, we need to do like 20 more steps, so
Yeah.
it's going to be a process.
Yeah. Anything else? Sure.
I think it's important for the public to know that this is not anything that we want to make a decision for September this year or anything like that. Not at all. I just save the emails, please. It's at least a year to even just see, is this feasible? And to do the back end that we need to do. I just thought that the demographers have done this work, and it was really important for the public to hear it, for the board to hear it, and then we can start the work. So this is step 1 of 20, right, Joe? Okay.
Dr. Figueroa.
Just based on what Tim had been mentioning before, the metrics you're using to determine the amount of children coming into the district, are they pretty much standard metrics?
I'm sorry?
They're standard metrics? In other words?
Yeah,
We're not determining a high-functioning district or a district that might be more sought after than one that maybe doesn't have education, you know, as
it relates
preliminary
more,
importance
it relates
as
more
we
to
do.
value of property. Okay?
I'm sorry?
It relates more to value of property.
Value of property?
This-
Okay.
Okay, which kind of ties into what you're saying.
That's what I'm trying to figure. Okay, thank you very much, appreciate it. And thank you for your presentation.
Okay.
Thank you. I think you're off the hook. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, a little humor helps, right? Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you. Okay, I think, Dr. Braun, if it's okay to share, I believe the last time we redistricted, Dr. Braun was a student. If you-
Yeah, okay, so I believe it was like, oh, I killed my microphone. Yeah, it was around 1973.
Okay.
There was actually, it was done again in 83 because they closed Irwin very briefly. And so those kids got sent different places. But yeah, I think it was 1973. I was at Warnstoffer. And then because Colonial Oaks opened, and I'm pointing at Mary Ann because, you know, her parents bought there, thank you. Because Colonial Oaks was being built, I got redistricted. So I ended up at Frost.
For the record, I wasn't even born yet.
I know you weren't born Wait, but yet.
How did you feel about getting redistricted?
Oh, it sucked. Oh, am I allowed to say that on microphone? No, it really did. I mean, as a kid, that's miserable, you know? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think I grew up to be a functioning member of society, more or less. But I mean, no, I don't think, no, it's not something that we take lightly, talking about this, because it has an impact, no matter, you know, how much you want to do to shield kids from disruption. It happens. And I mean, I still kind of hold a grudge since 1973, the people who made that decision. But Frost did have a better playground. So, you know, so it worked out okay.
And I know this resonates with Dr. Braun because when we were leaving the meet and greet the other night at Frost, she actually mentioned it, which is why I know, and it's still bothering her all these years later.
I know, that's like, maybe that's a psychological thing I need to still work on. I don't know. But just so that the community knows, we take this very, very seriously because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, having to make new friends and just having something different.
Yeah. And with all things, I think it's, you know, you go through a pain period in order to get to where you need to be. Mrs. Evola.
If I could just give one more comment. Eventually, they all end up in Hammersholt, right? And then they
Yes.
all go to Churchill, and then they
Yes.
all go to the high school. So it's not, I don't want to pull up the year, but in 1972, it might have been harder to communicate with your friends that you had in your classes because there was no social media, there's no play dates, there's no sports, dance, gymnastics. I could go on forever.
Yeah, cell phones hadn't been invented
Right, they
yet,
weren't there. They
so-
weren't there. Were they? Actually, we should try and find out. But I think that when we're introducing it to the community, it's important for them to know that this isn't forever. You got 3 grades here, and then you're going to be with them again in Hammersholt. Because I think that's important too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dr. Figueroa, did you want to say something?
We used to ride our horses to each
Oh,
other's
I
house.
heard you. I
back
wanted
then.
everyone else
Yeah.
to hear you. Yeah.
That's what I read in the history book. I don't know anything about it, I wasn't born yet.
Okay. Okay, so thank you for hearing us speak. Now it's your turn. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. To protect the privacy of all students and staff, concerns regarding individual students and staff members should generally be addressed by first meeting with the appropriate administrative staff. Public participation is governed by the rules outlined in the agenda. A participant is limited to 3 minutes. If you would like to speak, you may do so now by going to the podium. And please state your name and address. Unless you're a student, only state your name and school.
Hello, Allegra Seidler, 12 South Woodland Avenue. First of all, I just want to say, I've been up here a lot. I've been to almost every meeting since November of 2024, and the vibe in here has changed a lot, and it's a lot more comfortable, and I thank you all for that. I actually wanted to say something really positive about the opportunity my daughter has had as being a part of the CKLA pilot in 2nd grade. Her love for going to school was dwindling for the last 2 years, which I have shared here before. She went into kindergarten reading, and she loves to learn. Every single day, she is coming home telling us what she's learning in school. And some of the things are amazing me. What she's retaining is amazing me. And it's really amazing all of our friends and family as well. Some of the things she's talked about, yes, are the fairy tales and the tall tales, but a lot of it is about ancient Greece, Greek myths. She talks about Socrates and philosophers and the birthplace of democracy. One day she came home and she said to my husband, "Daddy, guess what we learned about today?" And he heard all of these things that she's been talking about before, so he just took a wild guess, really not knowing. He goes, "Alexander the Great." And she goes, "Yes, actually I did." And then she starts telling him about Alexander the Great. And then my son, who's in kindergarten, and he's not part of the pilot, he wants to know, what did Emma learn about at school today? And we talk about things like this all the time. My kids do not have iPads or screen time or anything like that, so we're in the car and we're talking and they're looking out the window. And one day we went into the city. Why did we go into the city? Because I took them to the Metropolitan Museum to see the ancient Greek and ancient Egypt exhibits. Why did I do that? Because my daughter's talking about ancient Greece all the time. And my son, he's younger, he's listening to her. He's looking at the map, and she's looking at the map, and she points out, this is the Aegean Sea. I mean, I don't know, a 2nd grader saying that. Then she starts telling us how the Aegean Sea got its name. King Aegeus, and this is what's a Greek myth, and what's that? And my son was like, wow, this is really cool. I want to learn this too. So I know a little bit about CKLA. So I went on coreknowledge.org, which I've been on before, and I said, let's look at a previous lesson, and it's ancient Egypt. And I went through the whole thing with them, and they're looking at the pictures, and that is how I decided, we are going to the Metropolitan Museum, and we are going to see this exhibit. And they went in there. They're 6 and 7. I know that's a good joke for everyone. They love to do it. They brought their notebooks, and they were drawing. I have pictures to prove
20
it.
seconds.
My mom had to come. I usually have a timer here myself, but I really wanted to share this with you. This is just, I have points here, and that's it. On the way in, they're to the city, they're looking out the window, and they see the cityscape, and my daughter's like, did you know New York City is urban, and this is suburban, and this is this? So I just really know you have a lot of hard decisions to make, but please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Seidler.
No, I can't get it.
Is there anyone else wishing to address that?
Sorry.
Joe, we're going to have to talk about the alarm, okay? Matt, what's the deal with this alarm? Can we?
That was not my alarm. He's younger than me. He doesn't know how to even turn it off.
He used to ride horses, the ones with. Hi.
Hi. Rose Cruz, 22 Perry. I always like to bring props because it kind of brings the message home. On top of what Allegra said about literacy. CKLA pilot is going fantastic at Lawrenceburg, and I can't say enough about it. I raved about it in my survey, which you'll see. These are not around anymore. There are still words on the cereal boxes, but we put them in Rubbermaid containers because we're, efficient and all that. So there are not newspapers, there are no magazines, nothing is laying around for kids to learn how to read. And that's not the district's fault, that's just what it is. That's how life is now. So it really is so important that we give them the explicit instruction that they need to learn how to read. It's just the most important thing. And I didn't know what I was missing until this pilot came around. I really didn't. I thought, my kids are doing fine. They're good. But same as Allegra's kids, they're just so excited about learning every day. They pick up the books and read on their own all the time. That's not all I wanted to talk about. I also wanted to give a quick shout out about CPAG, the Special Education Parent Advisory Group. We're a parent-led volunteer organization, a state-mandated group, and we meet monthly, sometimes more than monthly, to talk with parents about whatever issues are going on. We have workshops. We've had virtual workshops and in-person workshops. We had a resource fair in the fall. We also have a transition resource fair coming up in March. Next week is our virtual town hall, and the following week we have a virtual lunch and learn with the state special education ombudsman. That will be very interesting. And just, we exist because this world was not built for our children, and we have to make the environment work for them. So aside from how the world is now and how the world is not anymore, we had the pandemic, and all the kids that have been born in the past decade had their early childhood years severely impacted by this stress and isolation of this thing, and it's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. So that's just one more thing that needs to be considered
20
when
seconds.
we're making our decisions in this district. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rose. Is there anyone else wishing to address the board this evening? No? Going once, going twice? Okay. It's not aggressive enough, right? Okay, so we are moving right along to our agenda.
Madam President, may I make a motion to table item number 1 under Board of Education, the school calendar?
Motion. Do we have a second? Second? Okay.
And then we would be bringing that back, so
For the
it's
next
not
meeting?
tabled permanently.
Yeah, it
It's-
has, we need a calendar.
Just to give us time to discuss further.
Right, but I just wanted to make sure that was the correct motion.
Yeah.
Table's the right one.
Okay, thank you.
Can we safely say that we will be going back to school before Labor Day, so at least families can start planning? Because I know that's a major question.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Falco. So Jamie and then Lori. Okay, all right. So this is a discussion. I think this is a voice vote. Okay,
To table.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstentions, motion carries. So that's tabled. Okay, yeah, so Board of Education, item 2. Do we have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Wilbur, then Jamie. Discussion. That's also a voice vote, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Ooh,
Abstention, please, on the closed session minutes
closed session.
on the 22nd.
Oh, yes.
On closed. Okay.
Okay.
And then,
And then, yes, so that's motion carries. Yeah, okay.
so can I just make a note?
Sure.
So on the business and support operations, in the agenda as posted, there were 10 items. We are adding item number 11, which is a shared service agreement with the township for the use of the ice arena. And the 12th item will be a shared service agreement for the school district to provide transportation for the township summer camps. So if you're gonna do everything, it's 1 to 12.
Okay. So business and support operations, items 1 through 12. Motion.
Move.
Move. Second.
Okay, Jamie, then Wilbur. Discussion?
Can,
Go ahead. Wilbur? Okay.
I just wanted to comment on the 2 items that were added on. The shared service agreement for the ice arena, which I hear is wonderful. I've seen it in construction. I haven't had a chance to see it now that it's open, but I'm looking forward to that. And the transportation services, which we've done in the past. But I just want to note that I think this is a really good sign of the partnership that we have with the township And I'm looking forward to continuing that on. I don't know if anyone else wants to comment.
Could I make a comment?
Yeah, of
Just-
course.
I think it's important for the public to also recognize the board for the support in doing this, and also the township. It's a team effort. You know, a lot went into it back and forth, but it's for the betterment of the community as a whole, and it's reflective of the board's direction moving forward. So I think it's important to recognize that.
Yeah. I'm guessing everybody feels the same way because everyone's nodding, so yes. Yes. Okay, so this one's a roll call vote because of item 9. Okay, so,
Anna Braun,
Yes.
Timothy Cummings. Yes. Antonetta Vola,
Yes.
Jamie Falco,
Yes.
Louis Figueroa,
Yes.
Lori Herrick,
Yes.
Wilbur Pan,
Yes.
Mary Ann Tanios.
yes. Motion carries. Okay. All right, moving on to human resources,
Curriculum.
Sorry?
There's curriculum on page 14.
curriculum and instruction. Do we have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Wilbur and Jamie. Discussion? Okay, so this is a voice vote. Oh, sorry, Antoinette?
I just wanted to thank the EBEF for all their support for our schools. This is just another thing that we're going to be experiencing thanks to their generosity, and I think that needs to be recognized.
Agreed. Yes, agreed. Any more discussion? Okay, this one is a voice vote, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
So one comment, human resources. I just want the board to note that the Director of Financial Services, Assistant Business Administrator, is currently listed under the non-certificated staff portion of the agenda. The minutes, once, if it's approved, will be, it will be reflected under the certificated portion. In order to hold that position, the state requires a certification. It should be in the certificated portion of the agenda.
Okay. All right, so it's just the one item. Do we have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Wilbur and Jamie. Discussion? Okay, this is a roll call vote also.
Anna Braun,
Yes.
Timothy Cummings. Yes. Antonetta Vola,
Yes.
Jamie Falco,
Yes.
Louis Figueroa,
Yes.
Lori Herrick,
Yes.
Wilbur Pan,
Yes.
Mary Ann Tanios.
Yes, motion carries. Great. Student services, do we have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Wilbur, then Jamie. You guys are getting slower. Discussion?
I believe there's a typo on the fire drill report
Yes, where is it?
for Chittick. They had an evacuation time of 1 minute and 80 seconds.
Yeah, it should be 1 minute and 8 seconds.
I'm, okay, I just want to let you know, I do
Thank
read
you.
this stuff.
Yep. No, duly noted.
Good catch. Yeah. Any other discussion? Okay, so this one is a roll call vote as well.
Anna Braun,
Yes.
Timothy Cummings. Yes. Antonetta Vola,
Yes.
Jamie Falco,
Yes.
Louis Figueroa,
Yes.
Lori Herrick,
Yes.
Wilbur Pan,
Yes.
Mary Ann Tanios.
Yes, motion carries. All right, we are on to committee reports, information items, and for the good of the cause for the board. We'll start this side? Yeah, okay. Just so everybody knows, I think you have a report for us for today, but Antoinette is our legislative liaison for the year. So she's gonna be the new face in Trenton, so.
Hi, everybody. I do have some information. Last night, many of our board members joined a NJSBA virtual meeting where Senator Gopal was able to join us and update us on some information regarding the students. Honestly, there was so much information about special education, school funding formula, and one of the things that they mentioned during last night's meeting was that there was a bill up for discussion for today in Trenton. So I took myself to Trenton, and I was able to sit in the Senate Committee on Urban Affairs meeting, and they discussed several bills. One bill that they discussed, which impacts schools, would be Senate 1807. If anyone's writing that down, and this is a bill that's focused on putting a expectation on pilot programs when it comes to the taxes that the the town council would receive. So the municipality gets taxes from its pilot program, would be 90%, 5% goes to the county. What this bill is trying to do is bridge the gap where it would put an expectation on the pilot program to go towards the schools. There was an amendment that was created right there during the meeting, and they were able to move this bill, and now it's going to go to the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Now, this bill has been going back and forth for years, and I spoke with Senator Singleton, who is the chair of this committee, and they're hoping that this will help ease the burden on the tax cuts that we've been experiencing. There was many people who were opposed to it. There were many people that were in favor of it, and it was really great to hear those who were in favor of it, because it was a lot of districts like us who were experiencing this type of burden. If I was to put my 2 cents in, which I did give it to Senator Singleton, it was they amended this bill from the original bill to include commercial pilots and residential pilots, which obviously the townships are going to want to push back on that, because the commercial pilots are not really impacting the schools. So it's a work in progress. As the updates come, I'll update you guys. But right now, that's where it's headed. It's going into its next phase, which again, once that's, I'll be paying attention to that next meeting, and once I go there, then I'll update you guys. Thank you.
Sorry, well, we'll just.
Quick question on that bill. Are existing pilot programs going to be looped into that, or are they grandfathered out?
So the bill, the way it's worded, there was amendments that were added today. The way it was worded was there would be a certain time constraint for the Board of Education and the township to create this partnership. I will say that I was very proud of us, because while I was there, there was obviously other districts who were, expressing their frustrations that the townships weren't wanting to participate. And we have been building that bridge with the township, obviously through the shared services and the hockey rink. So I was very proud of us that we are already doing that without needing any legislation, but because it's on the bill, and I'm going to update you guys on what's going to be affecting the schools, I wanted to share it. So one of the stipulations in the bill would be that the amendments was that the superintendent would be the one negotiating with the township. And yeah, I know, you like that one. And then she'd bring it to us, and then there'd be a certain amount of days for us to vote on it. And if we didn't do it, the township was at their liberty to be able to do what they wanted to do moving forward. And for existing pilots, I don't.
It's not in the bill.
It's not in the bill. I didn't see that there. I can't imagine that they would do that, because there's pilots that probably been 15 years already, and they're like, let's collect my coins, we're not going to do that. But I think that, and I told Senator Singleton, I think that it would be important for him to realize that the residential ones are really impacting the schools. And that would be something, because honestly, our district is not experiencing such a hardship in the township itself that they would need we'd be hurting them. But there are other districts that rely on that pilot money from the commercial contracts. So I can see why the developers would be pushing back on that. So for me, it made sense not to, especially for a township, to now have to hand over percentages. I did like one part of the bill that said that for the residential part, it would just be asking for them to cover the students that'd be coming in from those, which I think is fair, because you don't want to say give me 5% if you don't need 5%. So I thought that was a fair part of the bill. But again, it'll go to a budget and appropriations, and if it goes in the way it usually goes with a bill, it's going to go right back to them for them to amend it. So it's going to play ping pong until we get support in the assembly. So if you want to take a look at the bill, again, it's Senate 1807. If you actually want to listen to the testimony, they have it archived on the website. I can give you the link if you want, and you can hear it. It was very, very fascinating. There was other stuff that was on it, but it wasn't about the schools.
Thank you, Antoinette. And thank you for doing that so quickly, because you just found out about this meeting last night. Dr. Figueroa, you're good? Okay.
All right. February is Black History Month. I just want to acknowledge and share my appreciation for our Black American neighbors, the contributions they've given to us. It is a century of Black history commemorations is the theme. So with the centennial anniversary, I just wanted to bring that to light. Also wanted to express warm wishes for a happy Lunar New Year on the 17th. The 18th of February is the beginning of Ramadan. I wish my neighbors a peaceful fasting season. Also the beginning of the Lenten season for Catholics. Also a time where we try to provide service or give something up. So I will just lean into what I love is serving this community. And I wish everyone a peaceful holiday season if you're celebrating. Thank you.
And just a shout out to Dr. Falco, because in that meeting with Senator Gopal yesterday, she made a statement and he said, please connect with me because I want to learn more. So thank you for everything you're about to do for the state. Wilbur.
Okay. So, Lunar New Year is coming up. There's going to be a celebration at the East Brunswick Public Library on Saturday, February 7th, from 11:30 through most of the afternoon. It's being sponsored by the EB Arts Coalition and AAPI of East Brunswick, also known as the APITA Alliance. It's going to be a blast. Please come and check it out. For those of you who don't know much about Lunar New Year, this is the holiday for a good chunk of Asia and for Asian Americans, those of us living here. And just to put things in context, if you were to ask these folks how important is Lunar New Year, they would stick it up there with Easter for the Christian community, Yom Kippur for the Jewish community. But there's a lot of celebration that goes on, and those of you who've attended this in years past will know that it's a really great time. I know that some of our students will also be participating in that celebration as well. I also wanted to mention International Night at Hammersholt because Antoinette's too shy. I never thought I would say that, but there you go. Antoinette's too shy to mention it. But that also was a blast, and we've talked a lot about the diversity of our community. Excuse me. Tonight and how wonderful it is. And it was great to just see the school, the Hammersholt community come out. The PTA folks did a wonderful job putting it together. There was a tremendous show that happened at the Jam Pack where the students got to perform. That was terrific. The place was packed. They had such a good time. I was happy that we were able to participate in. So shout out to all the PTA people that put that thing together. Hope it becomes a tradition. And my last thing, and I kind of don't want to talk about this because those of you who know me know that I'm generally a glass half full type of guy. But speaking of the diversity in our community, there have been some recent events that have caused concern among different populations in our community. I know this because people have been coming up to me and asking questions. I know that other folks have been asked that, but the recent events in cities like Minnesota is one of them. And I did bring this up at a board meeting some months ago, but there are two things that have happened since then. I think it's worth just re-bringing this up for discussion. One is that we have a new superintendent doing a great job, and the second is that Governor Murphy signed the New Jersey Safe Communities Act, which, among various other things that it does, it establishes schools as safe zones. So I was wondering if we could just revisit what our approach is should ICE come to one of our schools. And I recognize that we don't want to talk about everything, but whatever we may be comfortable talking about, just to reassure the public.
So, consistent with the rule of law, obviously, for all of our LEAs, the local educational agencies, we have to honor valid judicial search or arrest warrants or court orders and subpoenas signed by a judge. The first priority is protecting the safety and mental health of our students. And, we had
the district had something out in 2024. I recently sent something out to our administrators to share with their staff. If a student shares a concern regarding ICE, we are immediately directing them to a counselor, and we have wraparound services, and that's all I'm going to say about that. ICE is not permitted in our building without permission. It is they're not. There has to be permission from the superintendent's office. There are things that I have to verify and talk to the attorney and show the attorney to determine what's real and what isn't. And so that too, we're very cognizant of. And we do not, we're not required to provide information about students. We don't do that generally, and we won't do that, not even for ICE about students' attendance, locations, or even to make them available on the spot. Like, that's not, we're not allowed to do that. So I just want, we have to consult legal counsel before we do anything. I just want to hopefully maybe that gives parents some level of comfort. It's hard. Even our staff knows that even if someone comes identifying themselves as an agent, they have to produce credentials. We have a whole check thing in place. We know what to do. We know who to call. We know how to verify. All of this, even our legal team will review the court order, if at all, before they're even allowed to come in. So I just, they have a legal right to come on school grounds. For parents or adults, but for our children, no. So hopefully, there's a whole other stuff, but that's just like a summary of it.
Great. Yeah, thanks a lot. I hope that will, bring some level of comfort to families who have this on their mind. And I just want to finish on a personal note. I don't want to really repeat stories that people have told me, but I can speak from personal experience. Living in East Brunswick is wonderful because of the diversity. We were looking for that. My wife and I, when we were looking for a place to live when our first son was born, and that was a thing that was important, and it's been a great thing overall. But East Brunswick is, because of our community, potentially could be a target for things. And I know personally, I've actually experienced this firsthand. I was accosted at the grocery store when COVID was going on, and being asked to, attest to why I had something to do with it, apparently. My wife has been shouted at by cars that slowed down in front of her house to yell at her to go back to her country, and all she was doing was yard work. And those are just two examples of things that I can attest to personally. So it's not that this is a bad place to live, but we have to be realistic in terms of the environment that we're in now. And I'm not carrying my passport around, but I think about it every day when I leave the house. So, and that's one thing I just have to deal with that many people don't. And that's the world that we live in today. So, thanks.
Thank you, Wilbur. Tim?
Yeah, I'm just going to switch gears a little bit here. The East Brunswick Sustainability Task Force and the East Brunswick Public Library, their last Repair Cafe got postponed. It was on that crazy snow day. So it is rescheduled for February 22nd. Great opportunity to bring anything you maybe need to have repaired, and great community event as well. So strongly encourage people to come out and meet, wonderful individuals who are associated with these organizations. So that is all. Thank you.
First, Wilbur, I just want to say thank you for sharing your experiences, but I'm also sorry that you had those experiences. I know, but, here, on Sunday, I went to the Churchill Honors Orchestra performs with the East Brunswick Symphony Orchestra. I know that was part of your superintendent report. They did a fantastic job. It was a really great afternoon of music. So yesterday, I feel like there was quite a few of us, like running around because we were at Warnstoffer for the meet and greet, and then we joined the New Jersey School Boards Association call with Senator Gopal, and I was really happy that we had, again, like a good East Brunswick showing. And so I think they realized that we definitely, although we didn't get some of the answers I think that we wanted, it's just going to push our advocacy efforts more. So that's that. And then I ran over to the new hockey rink. I saw you were there. I saw Karen was there as well. It was a really great experience. I think when I got there, it was just about the second period, and it was a really great game, and it's a really beautiful rink. I also did like the walkthrough before it opened, and it's amazing how much it's come along. But it was really great for their senior night and to see them win. And it was such a strong turnout from the community. When I got there, I couldn't even find a place to park. I had to go over to Lowe's, and then there was nowhere to stand because it was so crowded with students. There were so many. And families, and so I went up to the top and was standing, and it was amazing. So yes, they won, and it was a great victory, and so I thought that was amazing. I also just want to go back to Wilbur's point about International Night, because at Hughes it was really amazing. I have a favorite table, but I won't talk about that, and some favorite food, but I don't want to play favorites. So, but I do want to share something else that happened that I think you guys would all think is kind of cute. When I was walking in, when it started, there was a young boy next to me with his dad, and they were like walking in. And he, of course, I had to be in 5th grade because of what happened. But he looked at me and said, he's like, this school is so big. Like, this school is huge. It's just so huge. And I was like, yeah, it is a big school. You're right. And his dad like looked at him and was like, you come to school here every day. Like, you know how big it is. And he's like, but it's just every time I walk in here, it's so big. I just love it. And I actually then talked to Wilbur afterwards, and I was like, I couldn't just the excitement that he had to come back at night to the school that he goes to during the day, I just think speaks volumes of what happens in that school during the day and how much kids love it. And we were actually talking about how we don't love to open our laptops to work that much every day when I talked to Wilbur about it. So that was really cute. And then I just wanted to give an update. So I am now the chair of the curriculum committee. I have collected some initial thoughts and priorities from committee members, and I will be speaking with Dr. Boley to begin those discussions. So more to come on that soon. So that's it.
And to recruit more.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes. We're gonna talk about how we're going to recruit some people and have good meetings and have good discussions, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Lori. So before Dr. Braun begins, Dr. Braun is our new Arts Coalition Commission Arts representative from the board, Arts Chair, as our continued commitment to the arts and to working with the township, and who better to do so than Dr. Braun?
Yeah, pretty much. Again, I just want to jump in there and say how proud I was of the Churchill Advanced Orchestra on Sunday, performing at the East Brunswick Symphony's Winter Serenade. And what I was most happy about, obviously, because the kids did a great job, our teachers were also participating in the orchestra. So they're not just teachers. They also play professionally. And the conductor made a remark talking about the orchestra behind him, that we all started in our school orchestras. And all of these people on the stage have been playing, forever. There were a lot of silvered-haired musicians. So even if you started at Frost School 50 years ago playing viola, that's not something that you have to stop doing. You can, once you learn an instrument, you have it forever. So I was very proud of them. And the Arts Coalition has quite a number of events coming up, which I highly encourage people to take their kids to. The Lunar New Year celebration coming up. In collaboration with the Daisy Association and Playhouse 22, there'll be an introduction to theater event on Saturday, February 21st from 1 to 3 at the Community Arts Center. And this will provide families with differently abled children to enjoy a mini theater, little movie experience in a judgment-free zone, which is really lovely. And there's also Sunset BLV. I don't know if that's supposed to say Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard. Okay, I don't know. Sunset Boulevard Mike Night at Habib Motor Cafe on Tuesday, the 24th, from 6 to 8:30. And I understand there are going to be some high school kids performing there. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, would you like to add anything? Or no? Okay.
All right, I guess that leaves me. So at the risk of sounding awfully saccharine, I just want to say I'm so proud of like this entire board. I can't believe it's only been a month. Yeah, since we reorganized. I feel like it's been forever because of the amount of work that has gone in. This has been a lot of flipping tables, turning tides, and it's been a little bit intense at times, but like really, I really am so proud of everybody up here for how much the emails are back and forth and the communication going on and the text messages and the 5 a.m., 7 a.m. phone calls. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's actually wonderful. And I know you're doing it with each other too, so that's great. I love it. And I just wanted to make sure the community hears that because those are the things that they don't get to see because of the laws. But everybody up here is hard at work. I mean, we were so well represented last night in that meeting. We had like six.
We didn't sit together. Wait, because.
No, I'm talking about the Gopal meeting.
Oh, yeah, that was
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
but the Warren
And
Stauffer.
yeah, and then the amount of questions coming through and the level of like rigor and intelligence of those questions, and it was amazing. So really, thank you all. I'm so proud and humbled to like be a part of you. I also want to say thank you to the community because I love that you reach out to us and ask us questions. I love that you send emails. I love that there's a dialogue back and forth. I love, Allegra and Rose, that you stood up here and gave positive feedback. Thank you. And I love hearing the negative feedback too. I know we all do because we can't do better unless we know what's broken and how to fix it. So thank you. We're really grateful for, as Allegra said, like the vibe that has changed. So thank you, everybody. And I'm wishing everyone, not to reiterate what everyone has already said, but I'm wishing everyone very nice holidays with all the holidays coming up. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Here? Okay, we are motion to adjourn.
Move. Second.
Jamie Wilbur. Discussion. Okay, it's a voice vote, right? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Have a good evening.